Hey guys, welcome back to Let's Create with Alex Blake. I'm your host, Alex Blake, and today we don't just have one guest on the pod, we actually have two. Everybody welcome Britt and Alex Hall. Say hey guys.
Hello.
I love it. You guys are so fun. If you are watching on YouTube, you see how cute their setup is. Talk us through your setup, guys. You got the plants in the back.
It is Water the Plants Day, and we are partying with the plants.
They are so happy to be nourished today.
And on camera. And on camera. They're very happy to be in the room.
Yep.
Yes, I love it. They are like the stars of the show. Like, you guys look cute, but the plants behind you, amazing. Anyway, you guys might know Alex and Britt from being Chasing Sunsets on Instagram and TikTok and all the things, but I'll let them introduce themselves in a second. Before they do, though, I want to let you know that they're creators, they're podcasters, they're educators, and they're freaking hilarious on Reels. Like, I literally laugh at your Reels all the time, specifically you, Brittany. Like, you're funny.
You're so sweet.
So anyway, I want you guys to introduce yourselves, kind of tell us more about you in general, but I really want you guys to share like one unexpected thing about the other person. Ooh. So since you guys are here together, I thought it would be fun to kind of like play off as a couple, you know?
I love that. Well, hi everyone. I'm Brittany. This is Alex.
I'm Alex. Thank you so much for that sweet introduction. You are so kind.
Yeah, we love being able to interview, but also just to like hang out with new communities. So Alex, this is such an honor. I'm such a big fan, so I'm so excited to be here. Alex and I are a photo video team, mostly for love stories, but we are very fortunate and are kind of transitioning into more influencer educator kind of content, which is really fun.
So excited.
Fun.
Yes. And it's just amazing to be able to be a mentor in this space to people who are growing and on their journey. It's really special to be a part of other people's success stories too. So I'm just very grateful to be here.
We love to be the mentors that we didn't have. So that's so awesome. That's kind of like our why. We love sharing what we know so that you don't have to go through the learning curve that we did.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun.
I love that because I feel the same way. And I talk a lot about that on the podcast of just like, let's just make this a community where I'm learning, you're learning, and I'm not going to act like I'm perfect. I'm going to share with you all the messy mistakes that I made so that you don't have to make those. And I hope that everyone else shares their messy mistakes that are ahead of me so that I can continue to learn and grow. Because like none of us are perfect. We all start from scratch. But like, man, we want to share those things. Like we want people to be better than we found them. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Absolutely.
So I love that.
That's how you connect, right? Being vulnerable online is one of my favorite things. And knowing that you have different things in common with all of the people that we get to create alongside, we're all better together. And I absolutely love this whole concept of like little podcast hangouts. I am so excited to hang out today.
I love it too. Guys, before we started recording, I was also like, wait, you guys should come and stay in our guest room in Charleston. So
we're planning our first slumber party.
I'm being so serious. And we're going to get Georgia and Micah here too. And we'll just like have one big photographer party.
Oh, that sounds so perfect.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be fun.
We're like just started planning it, but like it's going to happen.
We should tell Georgia and Micah. They should know.
We should let them in on it.
No, I know. I'm not even kidding. And we'll talk to Emmy too. Like we'll just get the whole squad together. I'm obsessed.
Squad. Oh.
I love it. Anyway, okay. So tell us a little bit more about your story. Obviously, that's kind of like who you are. But like I said, maybe share one unexpected thing about the other, a little fun fact, and then maybe talk about how you got into photography and stuff like that too.
May I go first?
I wish you would.
The first thing that comes to my mind is Alex has a very special skill of catching things. He is one of those rare human beings who has like a sixth sense when it comes to, like flying objects. So you can toss a chapstick, you can toss a water bottle.
That's pretty good.
He can snatch things out of the air. And I just think that's such a cool talent. You're so quick.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that.
You're a ninja.
That's definitely a secret skill.
Yeah, most people don't know that. It's really beautiful.
I love how serious you were accepting that compliment, Alex.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's true. It's definitely true.
It is an honor.
For Britt, one of the most unexpected things about her is her entire purpose in life is to inspire and to be inspired. So when you break that down and you actually observe her in her magic on any given day, she can be inspired by something and then literally 20 minutes later, we're doing a photo shoot with said inspo. It is literally amazing how she just takes charge and makes action. And I love that about you.
Oh,
That's
that
really
is so sweet.
Very unexpected. Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool. I love that too, because I feel like that's not like not everybody has that skill, Britt. Like that's such a like there's a lot of people who are creative, but I think that's cool to hear like how specifically your brain is wired and your brain is creative. Like that's really unique.
I like the way you describe that. I often think of it like a scavenger hunt. Like
Yes.
I feel every day is a scavenger hunt of little messages or downloads from the universe or God. And it's so special that I get to kind of like pick up on those and then move forward. That's really cool.
It keeps things very
It keeps things
interesting.
very interesting.
Things are always shifting around. A little bit.
Literally, yes, Alex.
Update, business meeting.
I love it. That's so funny. Sometimes I feel
awesome.
that way too. Like if I'm like in a certain zone, it's like my brain will not shut off from entrepreneurial
Yes.
ideas.
Literally.
Like it's just happening. Like I have one spark and then it's like 5 more from
Spark.
there. Yeah.
Yes, I
spark.
love that. It's such a sparky energy, and there's a reason that you're feeling called to do something. So I just really
Yeah.
like leaning into that.
Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love that. Okay, well, share a little bit about like the photography, videography background. How'd you guys get started? What's it like working as a team? We're going to talk
Oh,
a
yeah.
little bit more about that part later, but
Mhm.
share kind of the basics.
Of course. This all started because I've always loved content and I've always loved
Forever.
cameras forever. My mom wanted to be a photographer, so I grew up with photo shoots, which was really special. She would get all 3 of her daughters ready and we would go do photo shoots in the woods. We grew up in rural Michigan, so fall colors were always so special and celebrated in our household. I met Alex and I just kind of was like, this is my thing. Do you accept me for who I am? I'm always going to want a photo shoot.
Yeah, my journey was definitely different. I didn't always love content, and I'm sorry, Mom, you are an angel. And she always had a camera ready for a photo shoot. And I just always thought it was like taking myself out of the moment rather than actually creating the legacy moments that she was. So sorry, Mom, I'm better. We do photo shoots every year now. I will keep apologizing every
She's
time.
proud.
She's
proud
so
of your
proud.
change.
Yes.
But for me, it was the moments when Brittany and I started creating together, and I really understood how much photo shoots meant to her. And then I was like, okay, like this is something that is actually really fun, and we get to be creative and we get to do things like this together. And that was the shift for me. It was like, okay.
That's kind of cool to hear. Like it was a shift of like once you understood the why, then it
Yes.
became important to you
Yes.
too. Like, why is this important to Brittany? And once you understood that, that was kind of what shifted. That's a really cool perspective.
Yeah. I loved being able to like, so when you're a server, have you ever been a server in like a restaurant or anything?
I haven't, but I've had lots of friends who
Yes.
have.
One of the funny things that can happen is maybe the people at the table aren't like in the best mood, but you can turn a table. You
Yep.
can like turn it around. I love that Alex is like this success story, right? Like he didn't love content.
There's
he was
hope.
there's hope for anybody out there. If your significant other or your spouse is not super into it, try to find a way to express like the deep meaning of preserving legacy and preserving
Right.
milestones. It will
Yeah.
really help them to understand that there's something so much more than just, I need something to post on Instagram. It's, I need some beautiful content to remember our life. So Alex and I are dating, right? We're getting hot and heavy, and we start doing pictures together. We're working at that restaurant I just
Yep.
mentioned. So we started our like dynamic of working together in that kind of setting. And it was really cool. We got to serve tables together. There were different guests that would come and would request us to be their servers.
Yeah.
So we got to learn how to work well
Oh, that's
together.
cool.
It was really special. But then you also learn like that customer service element of serving others and working on your people skills and being able to turn a table. There were so many awesome skills that we took away, but we also took away community.
Mhm.
So many of our friends realized that we wanted to get into photography. We started talking about becoming entrepreneurs. We got our first camera,
Yep.
and then they wanted to support us. So we did photo shoots with all of our server friends. And then that kind of turned into organic referrals, which helped us to
Cool.
build Chasing Sunsets to be what it is now.
Yeah. Alex, full disclosure, our photos were not amazing right away at the beginning. We were talking about that learning curve a little bit earlier. There was definitely some stuff to figure out.
Totally.
But one thing we always had was that experience, and that comes from the experience that we gained serving. Because if you aren't creating a fun experience for somebody out at night, they're not going to tip you as well as they
Right.
could.
Yeah,
so you
right.
have to really create a container where people feel comfortable and they can be vulnerable. And that definitely overlapped into the photography.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I even think that for myself too. For a long time, I worked in a church before I was a photographer. And I think like I learned and gleaned so much about people and about how to love on people, about how to be hospitable and welcoming, create community, kind of similar to what you're talking about. Like when you work from people or work with people and you glean like that experience, you do just take it naturally into your next one. And I think in photography, like the more that you can learn how to love on people and like you said, turn the table a little bit, you know, like the more you can learn that, the better your customer experience is going to be. And I love that we're both on the same page about that because I
100%.
value that so much. It's so much like a part of our industry. And I think not everybody innately knows that, you know, that's something that a lot of people have to work on. So it's a beautiful thing that we can talk about that and share about that so that people can, you know, I love
a lot of it is meeting people where they're at and then mirroring that energy back and obviously elevating it if you can. Be the big joy that you want to see in the pictures. Like see if you can kind of show up in that way. And if you've got a camera, you're going to be able to like create that energy, like that synergy, and then you're going to get it right back. It's beautiful. I've always
really
loved that.
Cool. Well, when I was talking to Alex and Britt before we started recording, and really when we were kind of planning, when Brittany and I were planning like this podcast, she was sharing that she wants to talk about abundance mindset. So I'm super excited for you guys to share about this. My husband, Zach, literally told me the other day, Alex, I think you struggle with scarcity mindset. And I said, oh, which like, do I agree with that? Yes. But was it cool that you guys are coming on to talk about this so I can learn from you? Yes.
Wow.
So I'm excited to hear about that. But before we jump into like the meat of that, I want us to like define what that means before we get started. So anyone listening, including myself, can really start from like a good, I'm telling you, I need this. I'm not kidding. If you see my phone in the corner, I'm just like,
that's amazing.
But anyway, so tell us like, what does abundance mindset mean to you?
I just want to start by saying I'm so proud of you for being willing to like share that vulnerability that you sometimes have those moments. We definitely have had those moments, and it's not something where it's just like one day you're like finally in the abundance mindset. You have to, it's an everyday thing that you have to address. So I appreciate that you shared that because I think a lot of people might be in the exact same space right now, and it's just an opportunity to evolve. When it comes to abundance mindset, my definition is very simply there is enough for everyone, and what's meant to be yours will be yours. And if it's meant to be yours, you can't mess it up. I know that's like 3 mantras all put together.
So good though.
But it just makes me feel so aligned with right where I'm at. Because there's going to be highs and lows in life, no matter what you do, no matter what your career path is. But everything is going to be teaching you something and preparing you for what you're ultimately going to become. I'm a big proponent of forward momentum. And when you think about living your life, I would love to live in a world where I'm a little delulu and I'm like, I'm going to be taken care of. What's meant to be mine is coming, and there's enough for everyone. So I can clap for others. I can be happy for other people when they're successful. Their success does not make me any less successful. That is just my initial definition. Would you add anything to that?
Literally no. Like that's so perfectly said. You crushed that. But yeah, it's just there's I guess I can break it down in a different way. Like, especially in the photography industry, there is no possible way that you could serve everyone that needs that service in 1 year. 100%. So when you really understand that, you just understand that there's plenty for everybody. You don't have to feel like you need this next booking more than a different one.
Yeah.
I think to add one other thing that I love is a lot of what Alex and I do is we try to be very mindful of how we make people feel. And that's been since the beginning of building any business. And when it comes to scarcity mindset versus abundance mindset, we always felt so much more connected to the idea of elevating others versus the scarcity mindset might make you feel a little more protective or reluctant to offer that generosity back. So it's like, in my mind, I love the idea that we're amplifying everyone's efforts. Yeah. So when we first started taking inquiries and getting bookings and like all of that was happening for us, we got really excited about the idea of, well, if we're not available for something, why don't we just offer recommendations? Why don't we kick it right back to some people who we appreciate?
That we admire.
Yeah. But it also is great for customer experience because I'm not just saying, bye, I'm not going to help you. I can help you in a different way. It just won't be me capturing the pictures. And that always felt so good because we would get back feedback from those photographer friends saying, wow, like you've made a huge impact in my business just because I'm on your referral list. Like, thank you. I love that. I love hearing that we have a positive impact in others' lives.
Yeah.
So abundance mindset always felt so aligned with what we really came here to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love what you guys are saying, because it's not abundance mindset for the concept of just like your own kind of gain. It's like abundance mindset so that you can be generous, so that you can give back to our community, you know, and I love that too. I also do that for like recommendation side of things. And I think it's such a beautiful thing, because it's like being generous isn't just being generous with your money. It's being generous with your time, your talent, and your treasure, your finances, you know, it's like finding a bunch of different buckets in your life where you can be generous. And that's like leading a life of generosity, you know? So I love that you're saying like, okay, let's scale it back. This is the why we want to be generous. And so that's why we do all of these things, you know? So let's take it a little bit deeper. Do you feel like abundance mindset has ever been something that you guys struggled with, like having that?
For me, I was in a space where I didn't have the right guiding light, and that influence made me feel like that was kind of the way that it was in the photography industry. When I first got started, I had two different mentors who were excited that I wanted to get started, but they had that scarcity, like, oh, you know, there's not enough for everyone. Like, this is a very small town. There's only so many bookings. There was so much of that energy that it felt like it had that impact on me. And I started to think in that way. And I realized that if I wanted to connect myself to those mentors and continue down that path, what is 5 to 10 years of that going to look like? And then that's when I realized I had to come back to my root cause, or like my root why, which is we're here to preserve legacy. Ultimately, there's so many stories that deserve to be told. And content is such a beautiful way to immortalize people that are here right now. So when I realized that that was kind of the journey that those individuals were going to take, you can kind of see it in like some of their experiences, the things that are happening in their lives. It's a direct result of that mindset piece. That was the chapter where I realized, you know, I do have to step away from those people or that energy, and I have to kind of forge our own path here. And it coincided with Alex also realizing like, hey, maybe we could do this together. So all at the same time, it kind of felt like, what if we just become Delulu? We go full time right away, just the two of us, and we build our own business, and we do it in a way that feels full of love and full of light. Like you're saying, I think something really beautiful will happen 5 to 10 years from now. And we're kind of coming up on that, like 10 years of these decisions and these movements. And I'm really excited to say that it has been so full of love every step of the way. So truly, even if there's moments where you might have a moment where you feel like, oh man, the bank account is really tight right now. Like things are coming close to the red line. You have to still come back to this idea that money, love, and ideas flow to you effortlessly and easily, and just devote yourself to like a mantra that helps you to recenter inside of your spirit. Like make sure that you always know that you're going to be taken care of.
Those are the times when you really have to
have the abundance mindset.
You really got to be like, it's coming. It's coming.
Things got weird there for a second, but we're going to be okay.
Everything's fine.
Everything's fine.
That's like I say that all the time when it's like things are really not fine, but it's fine. It's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine. Yeah, I love that too, because like you guys are talking about like it all starts with this mindset, but you're also saying we went with the Delulu thing and we worked hard after it. And so it's like it's training your mind to think a certain way, to maybe repath your brain a little bit. And maybe like you've done something your whole life one way and it's having to switch it around to think a totally different way. But it's not just the thought, it's also action. It's putting in hard work, you know, and gritty work sometimes.
It's
even
gritty.
When it looks like, even when it looks like there's a red line there for your payment or whatever it is, like putting in the really hard work and thinking of new ideas too, being problem solvers where it's like, wow, you know, it looks like there's a red line, but how can I solve this problem? What can I do to make sure I'm in the green? You know, really, again, the gritty hard work of it, but it starts with mindset. So I love that you're saying that. Okay. So that was kind of like the thing that shifted for you. But one thing that you just talked about a little bit is like being in the red too. And I think a lot of people currently right now are in slow season.
Yes.
And I even just got a couple DMs this week. And I don't know if you guys get this too, but I got a couple this week that were just saying like, how do I stay inspired during slow season? So I would love to know, like, how do you stay in abundance in that mindset, even through slow season or when it looks bad?
Things are looking bleak.
When the circumstances are dire.
Honestly, you just fall back onto to the routines that you've created that embody the abundance mindset. And when things are tough, you just have to stick to some of those routines and just know, I just need to keep moving forward. You got to live in day tight compartments. And that's like a thing that we've learned from Dale Carnegie in his book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. He explains that if you just focus on one day at a time, you can achieve what you need to achieve. And then those other dominoes are going to fall into place. So although you might just want to stare at your bank account and hope that it's going to change, just keep focusing on what you can do, little steps moving forward in the right direction, and it'll take care of itself. I know that sounds crazy, but
I want to add to that too. When it comes to those little steps, maybe it's you go and you edit that content retreat or that styled shoot that's been on the back burner. If you look at our history, Alex, like you and I, every time that we've been the closest to the red, it was because we got into such a routine that we weren't trying new things. So Alex, I love that you said, you know, the part of the hard work is when things aren't going in the direction that you want, it's time to innovate. It's time to like pump
time to pivot.
Pivot. You have to add more energy into the things that you want that to call in. So if that's going to work on a gallery that is maybe something you want to research, maybe it's something you've already done, but you have a fresh new style or energy about it. Feel free to look at your history and realize that, I mean, maybe you could look at your history and realize that the times where things were the quietest in terms of inquiries and bookings, it's when you also are slowing down with what you're putting out there. I totally believe in the idea of everything is a mirror. So what you put out there is what you're going to get back. Often when things are slow or things are uninspired, I just need to go work on some fun data that I already have. Maybe go through your old BTS clips. Was there any other cool nugget there that you could put out that would maybe generate some new excitement about what you're doing? I really feel like this industry, this business of content, it's based on relevance in the terms of like the customer who has like the buying power, right? If you're not in front of them and saying, hey, I'm a content creator and I can create content for you, then how would they know that that's something that you're doing? So I love the idea that when it gets slow, show up, like just keep showing up. And that routine, that discipline to keep showing up has truly served us so well. It's not a matter of hustle culture. It's a matter of consistency because you know that you've got a greater purpose here and you want to keep seeing that through. I want to see what's going to happen if I work this hard. I want to go for it. That's that.
Another amazing tip is literally just, you need to move. Like you need to go, you need to move, like you need to exercise, or if it's like a content thing and it's time for you to go and spread your wings and go and network, maybe you need to find a retreat that is really inspiring to you and go and invest in yourself and nurture that community that you're able to build while you're out there networking with those other creatives.
Seek inspiration when you feel uninspired.
Right.
And inspiration can come in any form. We've mentioned a few. It could be movies. It could be music. It could be a new hobby that you never even considered. I met someone the other day.
Jazzercise.
Well, jazzercise, yes. But I met someone the other day who just, they redo book covers. What is that called? They like rebind books.
Yeah, they rebind the books. Yeah.
And she said that's one of her favorite things to stay inspired during the slow winter months. Yeah. How cool. Can you imagine like thrifting an old antique book and then adding your own cover to it? I just think that's fun. Go and create when you feel uninspired. I promise you the inspiration comes when you're in the act of creating.
That's really cool because I also think like what you just mentioned isn't photography.
Yeah.
Like what if how you're going to feel creative in the slow season is by doing something that isn't your job, that isn't the normal way that you feel like refueled. Maybe it's something new and different. But I love that too, that you were talking about like the rhythms, Alex, because my husband, he talks a lot about like irreducible minimums and like, okay, so this is like the rhythm and routine that we are going to keep in our lives. Even if everything else changes, these are things in our life that do not change. And so some of those for us is like, we read the Bible in the mornings, we pray in the mornings. That is an irreducible minimum. We're not taking that away. We have a date night weekly. We're not taking that away. That's like
so cute.
Your reaction immediately.
That's so cute.
But those are things that like these things, even when it feels like our week is really packed or in slow season, our week isn't packed and I'm feeling sluggish. These are things we don't take away just because things change in our lives. Right. These are things that help us to build for our future. They're active. They're not passive,
Yes.
So I love that you brought that up because I think sometimes we can think about those things of like keeping our routines and rhythms when it's busy season. And that's really hard. But I think it is just as hard in slow season because we feel sluggish, or some people struggle with mental health more in the winter. Like, and it's such a real thing. But when we can keep those things ahead of us of, no, I am forcing myself sometimes to be disciplined and to continue in the routines and habits that I know for me, into who I want to be, where I want to go, like all of those things. I love that you're talking about how it pushes forward. I think that's amazing. So
it's the language inside your head, right? It's the, yes, I can. You don't even realize it's happening. You might think of this one routine thing that you have to do every day. You don't have to do it. You get to do it. Right. It's yes, you can. I can't do that. Yes, you can. I want you to start telling yourself that, yes, you can. Yes, I can get inspired. I can get inspired during slow season. It's all the language that lives inside of your head, and just sit with that. Not necessarily become a meditator. Like if you want to meditate, it's an amazing thing to sit with your mind. But we do live in a world where everything is so busy all the time. Yeah. When was the last time you like checked in on the language that's just swirling around in your head? Right. Check in on the words, check in on the way that you're talking about yourself and to yourself, because you are the only person that can give you the love that you deserve. Truly, you have to love yourself from the inside out. And the first thing whenever I feel the most mentally unwell is always addressing the language. What am I saying to that beautiful girl in the mirror? Like, what am I, how am I, don't. Well, Alex had me start this thing where I tell Brittany I love her, and that's helped me a lot. And when I'm, self-deprecating in any way, nope, we're going to change that language. We're going to literally say out loud, yes, I can do this. Yes, I am creative. Yes, I can get inspired. And if Delulu helps you, stay Delulu. It's a beautiful thing to be a beautiful fool. It's a fun thing.
I love it. Zach makes me do the same thing. Actually,
I love that.
Like I'll say something bad about myself. He's like, no. Say 3 nice things about yourself.
There you go, Zach.
That's a good guy.
It's not good enough. He's like, no, not good enough.
I love him.
That wasn't enough about you.
I cannot wait to meet him.
I know.
What a treasure. Protect that man at all costs.
He really is the best. No, I'm not even kidding. You guys will love him. I was telling them before we started recording, guys, but I almost had Zach on too, because I thought it would be fun to do a little double date podcast. But I felt like it was too many people.
Do it next time. I want to meet him. That would be great.
Be like talking over each other the whole time,
It would be fun.
I don't know. Now that we tried 3, we'll try 4,
There we go. There we go. Yep.
I think it's going
You
good
can
too.
do it.
You can do it.
I should have told myself the opposite. Dang it. I love it. Well, this has all been really good. Do you have any other practical tips for like the whole mindset shift?
Absolutely. I think that another really important tip in this exact scenario is, if you are feeling that way, you're probably not engaging enough with your community on social media, whatever platform that is. For us, we spend the majority of our time on Instagram. So we love to go out, and we call it spread the love. And that's just going out, finding creators that you admire. Don't even worry about their account size, just worry about their art, and just engage with what they do, and give genuine praise, whether that's the caption really touched you, or some of the visual imagery, or maybe it's a reel and it's super funny, like you said. Anything like that is going to lift you up, because it could mean so much to that person. Yeah. And it will mean so much to that person. And that'll get you out of that funk.
I love the advice too. If you ever feel like you're in a scarcity mindset, you probably find yourself struggling to clap for others and be happy for others. So practice that skill. Just practice that element of, I'm going to go and I'm going to intentionally find people who are thriving, and I'm going to tell them that they're thriving and that I'm proud of them. I love the genuine praise piece of it. But then it's not just about celebrating or creating the love in new community and new friends and making them feel good, but you do have to make yourself feel good too in this, right? You can't just always be pouring it out for others. You have to pour it back in. So for that, I love to give the advice that you need to celebrate your love. And when you go to your Instagram and you have a post that has 45 likes on it, look at that number and remember what 45 people is in real life.
Yes.
This is real life. These are real humans. If 45 people showed up at your door to say, hey, I really like what you just created, I mean, that would be a busy afternoon.
It'd be a little overwhelming.
It would be very overwhelming. So just always remember to stay in your lane and to stay focused on the fact that 45 people know what you're doing and they are impressed by your art. You're creating art for a living. And if you always remember that there's humans on the other side of those numbers, the numbers will change and they will grow. They will shrink. There are so many different things that happen with numbers, but these are human beings. And if like you have 1 million, 2 million, whatever human beings that just pass by your account and they engage, like that's a beautiful thing. I can't even imagine 2 million people in my house.
Literally.
I don't even think you could fit. Like, it's just wild to think of the humans on the other side of Instagram.
Yeah.
That's helped a lot when it comes to this whole idea of, man, am I doing enough? Like, you're doing great. You're doing great. You just have to look at what you have. And there's 5 comments. There's 5 people who wanted to show up and say, hey, you're amazing. Just each person is a whole human being. Always remember that.
Yeah, I love that too. I saw a like meme or something one time where it was like 10,000 people in an arena. And
I saw that video and it was so inspiring.
It is, yeah. And it's like, it's so true. Like, I would literally be dumbfounded if I were on a flippin' stage right now in front of 10,000 people. I'd be like, you know?
Hi, I'm Alex. Thanks for coming to my show. I would
probably be like, Alex, I am high. Like, I wouldn't say it right because the stage fright would take over. But what's so beautiful is like, we have almost without fear Instagram and TikTok with all of these amazing humans. You're so right. But it's also interesting, like, while I agree with that, I also think we have to be careful with it too, because I think like there are times where like, oh my gosh, 5 people. And like, we really zone in on that. But then if those comments are bad, then what happens? You know what I mean? So it's like, we have to be careful too of like, we need to build our identity up on something that's like firm and stable, and people are not, you know,
they can't shake it.
Yeah.
And always remember, if somebody is, let me ask you this, Alex, have you ever left a mean comment on somebody's video ever?
No.
It's because you're a creator. What I've discovered over our beautiful history with growing on social media is the people who are being unkind are not creating. And so hurt people. Yep. If you, and whoever's listening, if you ever think like, man, I never leave a mean comment, it's because you're creating, you're being vulnerable. You know what that experience is like to create something you're proud of.
To go out on a limb.
To go out on a limb and then somebody to tear it down. So you will never do that to somebody. So just not saying give them grace, because I don't have any tolerance for being unkind, but try to understand that they are only coming from a place because they're too scared to create. Right. They're too scared to do what you are strong enough to do, which is be vulnerable. So definitely those 5 comments can be brutal, and you delete them and you move on.
Yeah, if it's bad enough, you got to get rid of it.
Yeah, you don't need that in your space.
The only comments that I'll delete is when they're about my clients. I have a reel. I don't know if I want to share this. I guess I will. I have a reel right now that's doing fairly well, and it's half doing well for the good reasons, and then half doing well because my client, I don't think she's overweight, but there are comments about that I'm deleting like every day right now, pretty much. Wow. To the point where I'm like, should I just delete this video? Like, but I've been on top of keeping, but like, I mean, they're posting gifs about it on it. They're posting mean comments about it. They're posting laughing faces. And it's like so specifically about that. Hurtful. It's ridiculous. It's so hurtful.
I have no tolerance for that.
No, I don't either. I'm like, absolutely not. Like I'm very protective, and I'm very protective of my friends and my clients.
Mama bear.
I'm not kidding. Like, all of my friends know, like, I am the mom of the group. Like, absolutely not. I will delete. I mean, nobody's going to speak to my baby that way.
And that's the scary part of virality, right? You want that idea of so many more people seeing your stuff more quickly, but unfortunately, often virality comes with that climate, and I don't love that social climate.
Totally.
So I just think hurt people, delete the comment and just protect what you can. And
and that's where like clean. For me, I'm going to like protect my client and everything. But if it's mean about me, I just don't care that much. Like
I take those down.
Take the heat.
Alex can take the heat. I don't like it. I think that's mean. And then what I don't want is for people to think that's something that they can do in the future. So I like to take them down. Yeah. If there's any kind of bullying, I'm just going to take it down for me or anyone else.
Respond to them.
Okay. That's a move. I like it.
But I respond to them. Sometimes I'll like wait because my first response is anger, you know?
Yes.
Sure. Yes. So I just wait. But then I respond in such a nice way that they feel bad. Like, I'm not even kidding. I had one that went like, it was like my biggest one that I've had on Instagram, and there were mean comments on it, but I just responded so nicely that they responded back nicely. And I'm like, wait, this is the switch.
You turned the table.
You did it, Alex.
Yes. Or if they didn't, other people, like, it was crazy because my videos started getting bigger. Yep. Okay. They were commenting on it about how nice I was commenting on it.
You're right. It's
and
beautiful.
so it's
such a good way to handle it.
Yeah. Sometimes it's it's just, and everyone, like I said, everyone's different. Like it's totally fine if somebody wants to delete those comments. But to me, I found that like I'm somehow set apart because I'm nice to these people.
Yes.
So people like that.
There was one time we were lucky enough to have like a video do well, and it was a group of gentlemen who were trying to tell me that I didn't explain something well. So they were even saying like they were trying to mansplain it better for me. And this one gentleman, he did go pretty hard in the paint. He said some things and I responded back with kindness because it didn't feel like bullying, but it felt like it was enough that I could address it.
Yeah.
And he actually ended up apologizing in his next response. He was like, I was having a really hard day.
I was having a tough time.
It's so pure. I'm like, have a great day, sir.
Literally, that is exactly how it happens every time for me. And it's so funny because it's like, like
I like what you've said in previous podcast interviews. I've listened to your show and you say social media is not that serious. It's not, it's just, it's something fun that we have access to. It's an opportunity for connection. And yes, there are different things that come with that space. Trolls are one of them and you just navigate that day to day. I like the tight compartments, Alex.
Yeah.
That's
and
nice.
Honestly, I think like having that mindset of like, I'm going to be nice to people in that space. It's a very disciplined thing because I think like, again, my first response is anger. And if it happened in person, my first response in anger would be anger too. Yes. But having that like as a standard for myself online, I think if it happened in person, I think I would have a check a little bit easier of like, how am I going to respond to this? Because that's my standard online. And it clearly happens more in line than people randomly yell at me in person. You know what
Nobody
I mean?
does that in
Never
person.
happens in person.
Just the keyboard warrior.
But if it did, I think I've learned because of social media.
I think so too.
I'll let you know if it ever happens.
Yes. Oh no. Brittany, it happened.
It happened. Somebody yelled at me. So funny. But anyway, okay. I want to move us on just because I knew this was going to happen. We are so chatty together and I love it. But I do want to hear a little bit more about like the business side of you guys working together. So tell me kind of maybe like the best part of working together as a married team and then the hardest part of working together as a couple.
Great question, Alex.
I feel like the best part is the privilege of spending every day with your significant other. I've had such a wonderful experience just being able to always be working towards the same goal together every single day and just simply being able to spend time in each other's presence. There are a lot of different like spouse dynamics where one person even works a different schedule. And it is truly a privilege to be able to spend every day together. That's the best part.
For me, the best part is Brittany's literally her favorite thing is creating photos, creating video. And when we're at a wedding and like we're doing like a big group photo and she gets to light everybody up and they're all having such a good time. And then she looks down at her camera and does like a happy dance. Like seeing that is literally my favorite part. It's so fun and it's so rewarding. Being there like through all of it really helps like when you're on your way home and you're decompressing and just allowing everything to be said and felt and then being able to move forward together is a really huge plus as well.
To be able to navigate it all together is really special. Yeah. Weddings are a mixed bag of emotions. There's so much that goes into capturing love stories and those big days full of big emotions. And so we do have that very intentional time where we get to decompress at the end of it. What conversations did you have? What made you feel good? What did you learn, right? What could we do differently? And it's so important for growth as a team to be able to have those conversations right away when it's fresh of mind. That's when that's allowed us to continue to grow and get better each wedding or each session. That's really special.
Can I do the hardest part?
Yeah.
For me, the hardest part is when something might not be going exactly as it's supposed to. Like we had a father of a groom one time kind of arguing with Brittany and really not very nice way. And like the protector in me just wanted to like jump in and be like, hey man, you can't talk to my wife like that. Like, but you're also client facing and there's, you know, it's literally 2 minutes before the ceremony started, Alex. So it's like, everybody's there. So the hardest part for me was just having to witness what was happening, but knowing that I needed to give Brittany the space to handle it on her own, to really show that, hey, like, you're not going to treat me like that. But everything was good. Like he literally was de-escalated. Brittany handled it like a champion. And then the ceremony was great.
Hold me back, bro.
But like that first initial moment where he's like getting a little closer, like kind of like, I'm like, hey man. Funny. But I had to watch.
Wow.
You know, it's interesting though, because to turn that, like you're saying, that's the hardest part. At the same time, I feel like that can go back to the best part too.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
getting to
Super
do that
rewarding.
together, you know, like you're getting to watch Brittany in action stand up for herself. And I'm sure
Exactly.
that as a husband, I know for Zach, like he would look at me and be so proud of me in that moment.
Yes.
But then on the flip side for you, Brittany, I bet it was so nice right after that to be able to go to Alex and be like, this
Little
just
high
happened,"
five
you know?
action. Let's keep moving forward.
Yeah,
How
like to
else
have
do
that
you-
support immediately.
Yes. How else do you move forward with the day with a clear mind? Like that will
Yeah.
shake you. But
Yeah.
Alex he is such a rock in every single situation. The hardest part for me with working with your spouse is it feels like chasing sunsets and just business in general can be all consuming because we both are checking the emails or checking the DMs. We both manage everything. There could be moments where I might be in like, I'm chopping up vegetables. We're having dinner time mode. And then Alex will open up an email and then that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So, and I do it too. I didn't mean to like,
I like chopping vegetables too.
but it's tough to turn it off. And
Yeah.
you care so much about all of the people you serve and you care about the success of the overall operation. And then you add in the online community. We have friends all over the
Yeah.
world, and it's important to make space for them while also being really mindful to make space for our marriage and our
100%.
lives outside of creating content for a living.
Yeah. I love that. Zach and I don't technically work together, but we do everything together.
Yes.
So it is very similar. Like we lead the church together and he's the only one who's on staff, the only one who's paid, but we very much do it together.
Wow.
Just the nature of our church in general is like, as of right now, like we're the only people here doing it. We are basically like an extension site of our church back in Atlanta before we moved to Charleston.
Oh,
And so, yeah, so it's really cool, but just Zach and I moved here and started this thing, you know, and we originally started it in our living room and it was with all of our friends. And so it is very much like all consuming. And then in my photography business, he doesn't do a lot with clients, but he helps me a lot on the back end with my education side of my business.
Awesome.
And so it is like very much together. But Brittany, exactly what you said is so true, where like it can be so hard to like turn off and just be married together and like enjoy each other's company without like the crowding of all the things we have to do, the people that we need to love on, the people we need to see, you know, or like all of the things. And like we're very available to people because we value community so much, which sounds so similar to you guys, whether that's like my photography friends or the church or whatever it is, but it can like crowd so much and it almost feels like pressure, like in a
great word
or whatever, you know,
the crowding.
But yeah, but I do feel like one of those things like of what going back to what you were talking about, Alex, with those like rhythms and routines, like that has saved us so much of having those like rhythms and routines for ourselves.
Date night.
And date night. Like I'm so serious. Do you guys have a date night?
Oh yeah.
Yes. Oh my.
It's
And
like
when-
my favorite night of the week.
It's just the best. And what's important is that you have that open communication with your spouse where you can say like, not now. We will definitely talk about this, but and be kind, right? Like don't like snap at him and be use your pretty words, but explain your boundary. Right now we're in date night. Like we'll talk about that later. And that's fine. That's
Especially
totally
if it's
fine.
like a cribbage or a skippo game, we're just like not now. It's straight competition.
Yes. Okay. Cassidy and Charlie taught us Monopoly Deal. Have you guys ever played that?
Monopoly Deal.
We
such
are
a fun game.
obsessed with it. We went and visited them 2 months ago now. And Charlie like pulled it out. He's like, we're playing this game. We bought it immediately leaving Michigan. We're like,
That's what happens.
I'm
That's what
obsessed
happens
with
with
this
Monopoly
game.
Deal.
I am
You buy that.
obsessed with Charlie's mustache. Is it even more glorious in person than it is
so
online?
funny. It is pretty glorious.
Next
That's
level,
amazing.
Charlie.
I love that like that's what he's known for. Like Cassidy is like calling him mustache man, you know,
Oh,
on social media
absolutely.
and stuff. Like but it just has to be at that point.
Yeah.
But-
Wait, tell me one unexpected thing about Charlie so that way I can put something else in the
gosh.
association.
Oh gosh. Well, I feel like Cassidy would answer this better, but he's a musician.
He's a musician. I did not
Yes.
know that.
Yes.
What does he play?
Yeah. I think I could be totally off on this, but I know he sings and I think he plays guitar.
Get
Wow.
out. That's great.
But so him and Zach are like little besties. Like literally, this is total tangent now, but literally like last year in like June, me, Cassidy, my friend Megan, we all went to Preston's workshop and
So cool.
we like all went together and everything and like had a little girls time while we were there. Oh, and my friend Lindsay too. We were all there and Charlie was like, well, Zach's going to be alone. Let me just drive to South Carolina. So him and Appa, their dog, got in the car and they drove down to South Carolina and like hung out with Zach.
That is perfect.
So
so
precious.
funny. But anyway, okay, I want to move us on. Let's go to, this will be like my last two questions. I can't leave out the last one. Okay. How do you guys divide roles in your business? Like, do you guys both do a little bit of everything, or just one of you handle emails, the other one do this? Like, tell me everything.
Oh my gosh, this is such a great question. And people ask us this all the time. It's literally like you get to wake up and, maybe you're sipping your favorite Zen tea in the morning, having some oatmeal, and you get to look at each other and just be like, hey, what type of energy do you have today? Like, where are you at? Because there's always so many things going on, like we were just talking about. And it's, okay, are you in a creative mood? Are you trying to make some videos right now? Are you trying to respond to some DMs and explain this or that? Do you have email energy? Are you ready to attack the gallery we just made? So, excuse me. We are so excited that we get to cross train with all of the different tasks. I think that that's a really key to the success of working with your spouse is knowing enough about everything that has to be done that you guys can just switch roles whenever you need to.
I really like that dynamic because it feels like there's support when the other person might be at 80%. The other person can jump in and give that 120 or vice versa. So when it comes to our favorite things to do, I think Alex is the best at editing video and I really excel at editing photos, but we can do the other's role if we need to. Alex is much more decisive on like the first cull, and we use Aftershoot, which is AI doing the first cull, but then Alex does a really great job being more decisive than I am. So he will do like that first cull after AI, and then I get to come in and do my thing. And so a lot of what it is bouncing off of each other. If Alex can put in energy for this one thing, then I can pick up where he left off, and vice versa. We don't have definitive roles because it really is based on energy. We are believers in the human design, which is like, how do you energetically interact with the world around you? It's similar to horoscopes, but it's just truly about your energy type. And Alex has a very unique energy type where it's different every day. So it's very unrealistic for me to think he's always going to have email energy, or unrealistic for him to believe that because of all of my ideas and all the directions I want to go, that I'm going to be, able to sit at the computer for long periods of time without any like break. So it's really important that we've built that understanding of each other and our energy types, and then we try to make the most out of any given day. I can't stress enough how special what you said is live in day tight compartments. It will help so much. I used to be one of those girlies who would be so stressed out in one moment about something that I'm going to be done with in 4 days.
4 days.
So Alex will teach me like, hey, are you losing your mind right now over something that won't even be on your mind in 4 days? And so I always give myself just time. There's time for everything. And then we feed off of each other's energy to see who's going to complete what task. And then you celebrate when that person does that task. It's so important when you're dividing and conquering, or just like doing it together. I love the way you did that. I so appreciate this. It's so important to actually talk about how much you love their effort and whatever it is. I really feel like that's the key to success with your spouse.
Yeah, that's cool. Like being encouraging of each other and like, and like telling them that and creating a support of, being able to talk to each other about bad things and communicate that well, but also the opposite, like communicating 100%. Wins really well. Yeah. I love that. And I think like everyone is so just different. Like it's just cool. Like we're all like unique humans, and there's things that like maybe Alex, you're stronger at than Brittany, and Brittany, you're stronger at some things than Alex. But I do like that you guys cross train too. So like Alex, if you're down bad one day, like or whatever, Brittany can.
It's not a good energy day today, Britt.
Gotta get back to my routine.
Like, you got it. Like it's cool that things can still move forward if one of you is like not doing well that day or whatever. Yes. So I love that. But I do love that you guys lean into the strengths and weaknesses that you both naturally have. I think that's really cool too.
I agree.
Okay, last question. What is one piece of business advice that you swear by and you want everyone to know?
Do you want to go first?
You're like,
I don't want to copy you, so you can go first.
Okay, I'll go first. I think the best business advice I can give anybody is if you want it, you need to work for it. If you are thinking of something, if it keeps coming up, if it's something you're passionate about, you're never going to lose that dream. That dream is inside of you, and you have to pursue it, and you have to pursue it with your whole heart. When it comes to business, there's so many things that you can do enough to be successful. But if you just dig in and you get super passionate about being a forever learner, you can learn as much as you can, and you can be so much more efficient or so much more talented. Like, I used to be one of those girls who could like just do enough to get going. And then I met Alex and we started building a business together. And he taught me that art of fall in love with learning, fall in love with learning, and work hard and be excited about working hard. You're building something. So my business advice is be a forever learner, fall in love with the concept that you're always getting better. Even if it's just 1% better, you're moving forward and you're doing what you came here to do. You're chasing that dream. You can't give up on your dream, man. You just got to go for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my business advice. Yeah. Follow your dreams.
Follow your dreams.
They will guide you.
I love it. No, but it's exactly what we talked about from the beginning, right? Yes. Like, you have this dream. Now set the rhythms in your life, set the goals in your life that you need to meet, work really hard.
Yes.
And you've got it, but like it takes hard work and it takes that gritty time of work too. So I love that, Britt. Okay, Alex, what about you?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm glad I didn't think of the same one as you, because it's really good to have multiple things to share. My business tip is simply make others feel important. Like, I cannot stress this enough, because if you make others feel important, they will remember that. You will stand out as a 100%. Very different human, especially today, if you can put aside whatever it is and make that person that you're interacting with, or that couple, or whatever it may be, feel important. If you just can do that, that is so special. One really good way to do that is to just remember names. Like, just names are so important. If you're talking to somebody and you forget their name, like, we go into a bridal suite sometimes and we meet a bunch of people really quick. And sometimes you can lock in and you can get all 9 people at one time. Other times, number 5 kind of goes off. So you have to go back and you have to be like, hey, I'm so sorry. I know you just introduced yourself to me, but please remind me of your name. Yeah. And then just use their name right away. Remember it. Make people feel important.
Make people feel important. But also, it's not necessarily like just be people pleasing all the time. You definitely do need to serve yourself and set your own boundaries and pursue that. But when it comes to being in any business, you have to be successful with people. Yeah. So if you feel like you're struggling right now, check in on your soft skills, check in on your client experience. Are you getting an overwhelming amount of positive feedback that your photos are amazing, or are people talking about how amazing your experience is? And if you find those little gaps in business, give love to those gaps. That's where you're going to see transformation. Yeah. That's where the evolution is check in with yourself, be honest, be very, very critical. You have to be humble, and figure out what it is that you could be better at, and then give love to that. And making people feel important is probably the main thing that everybody could definitely work on. Yeah, that's a really special answer. I like that, Alex.
I love that. Well, those were so great. And guys, it was so good to just like chat with you and talk with you. And I feel like we're already besties, Yes. Like, next podcast, Zach is on too. And it's a double.
Oh my gosh, please.
I love it. Okay. Well, any final thoughts, encouragement before we sign off?
Yeah, you're exactly where you're supposed to be. Like, wherever you are, there's a reason why you're right here, and you're enduring everything that you're enduring. Overcome it, move forward. You're going to be better on the other side. I promise. Just keep going. Just keep going.
Just keep swimming.
My last piece of advice is just pick up your camera today.
Yes,
just go and create something, whether it's just a little tripod photo shoot of you, or you and your partner, or your favorite animal that you have, your pet. Just create, and always be working with your camera, because that is the difference in moments where it's like a high stress situation or there's a lot going on. You're going to fall back on that muscle memory. So just keep up.
Keep creating.
I love it. Well, you guys are so amazing. Why don't you share where everyone can find you and follow you and listen to your podcast?
Thank you.
So sweet. Our favorite place to hang out is Instagram at Chasing Sunsets LLC. I love TikTok. That's Chasing Sunsets Photo Film. We have a beautiful podcast called Editing Castle, where we do focus on abundance mindset. Yeah. We love it so much that we were like, let's make a whole podcast about that. And that is on Spotify, Apple. If you want to send Alex a beautiful email when he has email energy, he'll respond. It's chasingsunsetswi@gmail.com. We'd love to hear how today's episode made you feel. If you have any fun stories, like feel free to share. But we're so honored to have been here. And
Yes,
this was an amazing conversation. Thank you.
Yay. I'm so glad. And like I said, we'll definitely have to have you guys back on for a double date. Okay. Love you guys so much. I will see you guys next Thursday for the next episode of Let's Create with Alex Blake. Bye.
Bye.